The Kansas City Chiefs have been running a monopoly on the AFC the last few years, but I think the Houston Texans will take over their spot on the throne this season.
It's not explain, the throne is mine. Of course it is.
You asked for it and we delivered. It's Fan Friday, and you, the fans, chose today's topic and point of view. Don't forget to leave a comment down below and let me know which AFC team you think can overthrow the Chiefs. I understand that Kansas City is still the favorite after winning the past 2 titles, but I believe in parity in sports, and a three-peat is nearly impossible for anyone. The Buffalo Bills have given them some scares over the years, and the Baltimore Ravens could finally get over the hump, but I'm going to zig while everyone else zags and pick the Texans to come out on top of the conference this season. I realize it's not the craziest take ever, especially judging by our weekly poll question where the overwhelming majority of you picked the Texans to go back-to-back in the AFC South. As always, thanks to those of you that voted. But I'm willing to bet a lot of you see a huge gap between just being a better than the Colts, the Titans, and the Jags, and besting the reigning back-to-back Super Bowl champs. But that's just how much faith I have in CJ Stroud and the Texans culture that is being built. And I put a lot of emphasis on Stroud because unless you're the 49ers in recent years, you need an elite quarterback to get you to the Super Bowl, and Stroud is just that, as he was in MVP conversations during his rookie season. And maybe more importantly for this conversation, he didn't look like the lights were too bright for him in the postseason. After the Browns scored a touchdown to take an early lead in last season's wildcard round, CJ Stroud marches down the field thanks to the plays like this, where he steps up in the pocket under pressure and delivers a perfect deep ball. Stroud became the youngest QB to win a playoff game as they downed the Browns by 31 points, and that's with a 24-year-old Nico Collins as a top receiver and without number 2 receiver and 24-year-old Tank Dell. That offense has a ton of juice, and it's only going to get better considering they added the one and only Stefon Diggs, signed Dalton Schultz to a multi-year contract, and will have Joe Mixon in the backfield. That offense could be the best in the league. But what's going to set them over the top is the defense. They added 4-time Pro Bowler Danielle Hunter to play alongside rookie sensation Will Anderson Jr., and that's just one of the many defensive moves they've made to improve that unit. Last season, the Texans were 23rd in passing yards allowed and 27th in rushing touchdowns allowed, while being middle of the pack in turnovers forced. Not great, so they did what any serious team would do and overturned about half of their defensive starters. So with a revamped defensive unit, along with the expectations set by last year's success, this season will have a lot more pressure and the hunters turn into the hunted. But that doesn't sound like an issue for Will Anderson Jr. Here's what he had to say about the increased expectations heading into 2024.
The expectations in the Texans have always been the same. No matter the outside noise, no matter the media, any of that, like we have a standard that we have to play to. We have a mentality that we play to, and that's the only thing that we have to play to is everything that happens in this building. So right now, it's just keeping that same mentality, and that's the swarm mentality. When all else fails, what are we going to do? We're going to go out there and swarm. And so that's what type of team we're going to be heading into this new season.
If that's how one of your youngest players views the season, then you can only assume the rest of the roster is following suit. But what's happening inside the Texans organization isn't the only reason to believe that they will win the AFC. It also has to do with the outlook of the rest of the conference. The Chiefs added some speed to their wide receiver room, but overall, the moves they made shouldn't change a whole lot about the way they do things. They're still elite and the favorite, but they aren't unbeatable, and again, a three-peat is nearly unheard of. As for the other teams trying to dethrone Kansas City, the Bills handed over their top wideout to Houston and will almost certainly take a step back on the offensive side of the ball. The Ravens smashed the Texans in the divisional round and made some big moves this offseason. I don't think those moves will work out how they want them to, especially the Derrick Henry signing. And you might be able to convince me on the Bengals, but roster-wise, the Texans have the clear leg up. So if the Texans can just take one step forward, the development of their youth coupled with the added veterans should be plenty to not only dethrone the Chiefs, but make a trip to the Super Bowl while CJ Stroud wins his first MVP award. And to be honest, I've long thought the Texans will be Super Bowl contenders. For more on that, check out this past episode of Point of View. Enjoy the weekend. We hope to find you here again next week.